Join Chewie and I as we learn about Star Wars 5th Edition. Today, thanks to this viewer, I'm going to be learning about the weapon properties. I figured maybe we could look at an example. Here's the sniper rifle that my character is currently using. This disruptor sniper rifle has a few properties on it. First of all, let's take a look at that power cell feature. A weapon that uses a power cell needs to be reloaded. You'll find that as a separate property called the reload property. On this particular sniper rifle, the reload property is 2, which means I can get off 2 shots and then I've got to reload it. This doesn't leave you a lot of room to be doing other things because it means every time I take 2 shots, I've got to use an action or a bonus action to put in some more ammo before I can keep firing. Another property listed here is the range. As you might expect, pretty long range on the sniper rifle. So this is the number of feet where you can attack someone. There are 2 numbers listed. One is your shorter range, and the other one is your longer range, where you have disadvantage, but you can still fire. Now, the one that threw me the first time I came across this was a strength requirement. I didn't understand why a ranged weapon would have a strength requirement. Turns out that in the Star Wars 5th Edition system, what they've done is essentially say, hey, some blasters are just going to have too much kickback. You have to be yay big to be able to basically ride this one. So what happens is if you don't meet the strength requirement, even if you have a great dex as a sniper, you're not going to be able to use this weapon without suffering disadvantage. Another feature listed here is the two-handed property. So not all weapons are going to be two-handed, but if they are, that means in order to use them, you have to put both hands in. So you can't be like wielding 2 sniper rifles at the same time at this point. You'll also notice that there's something called disintegrate on this one. That is a specific type of property. It's not a normal weapon property. Different weapons are going to have special properties that kind of make them unique. So they have the property of what it is. There's a description that kind of tells you about what it is. You'll also see this number here. In this case, it's a 13. This is usually the DC of some effect that is on the weapon. To see a contrast, here's another weapon that I keep holstered away. A very simple holdout blaster. You'll notice that there's a few different properties on this one and how it is different than the sniper rifle. While it is still a power cell weapon, you'll notice that the range is different, meaning that this is meant to be used up in close combat, not at a far distance. You'll also notice the hidden property. This makes it much easier for me to hide it away. I get advantage on that dexterity check when I want to make an attempt to try to conceal it. Some weapons, instead of having the hidden property, have a disguise property. In this case, you get to use charisma instead of dexterity. Depending on how you have built your character with your stats, you may be wanting to go one direction or the other with your weapons. You'll also note that this one doesn't have the two-handed property and instead has a property that says light. This makes it very easy for us to put it in one hand and also be doing two-handed fighting with another weapon. Something you'll also see is that the reload number is different. Different weapons have a different reload number. This means you can fire more often than with this weapon before you have to take a reload action. This is really helpful, especially with weapons that do multiple burst fires or if you have multiple actions in a single turn. Let's pull out the classic lightsaber. Notice that it has a different type of set of properties. The luminous property means it kind of glows in the dark. Notice also that it has a versatile capability. So you could use it one-handed, you could use it two-handed, but there's a little damage number here, which tells you if you're using it with 2 hands, you get to use this damage instead. There are a lot of other properties. I didn't want to take the time to go through every single one, but check out the rules and go through them. Really good descriptions on them. One that I do want to call out, though, is burst. Burst is interesting because it allows you to turn a regular weapon into an area of effect fireball. You are going and blasting a whole area, and everybody's got to make a saving throw and then take damage. Almost like you're throwing a grenade in there. Alrighty, folks, that wraps up weapon properties. Join Chewie and I next time as we learn about more Star Wars 5th Edition.